All right. All right. All right. All right. Yeah. Last day. No, not even last day. About to leave Italy now. Um, it is the morning of my flight, so gotta head out of the airport and got about um, 30 minutes or so before I need to make my way over to the airport. But in the meantime, yeah, just kind of wanted to recap my week a little bit. Um, can't remember exactly what I mentioned last video. I believe I was at the airport about to leave for Italy, but yeah. Um, week was quite a bit of work. I wouldn't say it was as stressful as I thought. Um, but it's better to go into it mentally over prepared and be pleasantly relieved when it's not as crazy and hectic as I thought. I'd rather have that than just be caught off by surprise. So thankfully, this trip was not too bad. Still a lot of work, but not too bad. um, and I guess I had some time to do some reflecting on this week, just kind of thinking about how things went. Um, and it kind of got me thinking, like, I guess for me, in the moment, um, I'm just naturally a bit more of a anxious person. I have a little bit of that doom and gloom mentality. I'm always kind of thinking the worst initially. Um, and so, yeah, it's times like this when, and I guess I just talked about this in the last video about the whole like 72-hour rule and this idea of just not being so overwhelmed by emotions and feelings that you end up doing things or saying things that you may later regret. And so the importance of, giving yourself a few days, in the last case that I talked about, the 72-hour rule, um, before doing anything. And so I kind of feel that way about this week. Not that there was a moment where I had to like make a crucial decision or I said something out of line or anything like that. But really, maybe it was just kind of more like my mental state, my heart posture going into this trip. It was a little bit down, a little bit negative. And then coming out of the week, I feel relieved. I feel pretty positive. I feel like things went well. And it was one of the more better work trips. And so I think in a way personally, internally, it just kind of makes me feel like for the next trip, like, um, let's see, how do I want to say this? I'm almost kind of humbled. Um, I feel like I kind of felt, what's the best way to say this? I went into it with a certain kind of mind state, certain kind of impression. I guess feeling like, oh, I know how this is going to be. I know it's not going to go well. I know this and that is going to happen. And it turned out none of that happened. It wasn't as bad as I thought, and it wasn't this stressful nightmare of a situation I thought it was going to be. And so I was wrong. So I had a perception about something, came out of it, ended up being wrong, and I'm glad I was wrong. And it just kind of makes me take a little mental note saying, hey, Daniel, like, I know you may be thinking this and feeling this way, and maybe you are going to be right at the end of it. Maybe there's going to be a moment of, I told you so. But there might not be. And it might actually turn out to be a pleasant surprise, and everything could end up going really right. And yeah, it could be a lot better than you thought. And so I feel like if I went into it leaning more on that side of the spectrum, um, maybe I wouldn't have been stressed. Maybe I wouldn't have been anxious. Maybe I wouldn't have seen the situation as like glass half empty. And so it's just kind of like a little, I'll save this for later. I'll have to remember this later next time something comes up, and automatically my mind might just go towards like negativity or thinking the worst or feeling like, oh my gosh, I know how this is gonna turn out. Just always kind of leading with the positive mindset of it could be a really positive outcome rather than a negative one. And so, yeah, I guess that's just kind of like a lesson I learned for this week, which was nice. And hopefully it's something that I remember and I try to practice for the next go around of whatever, not just like work related things, but just like life stuff in general. So yeah, I would say other than that, the week was really good. Got to tour the Visa Cash App Racing Bulls facility here in, I believe the city's called Faenza, Italy. It's about an hour out of Bologna, which is where we were staying. That's kind of like the next closest city. But it was really good. Me and my team, we all went over there. We had a 2-day shoot. It was nice to have a lot of extra hands because a lot of the times these work shoots, we run pretty lean. It's usually maybe a solo job, at the most 2 people, and so it was nice to have some extra set of hands just kind of helping set up, break down, and there's a reason why film crews are as big as they are. So yeah, that was another reason why I feel like this trip went well. It's just we had extra help. A lot of these work trips, it's just me traveling solo or me and my coworker, and it's just they can be pretty overwhelming, and it's a lot of things to manage and handle and do, and there's sometimes a bit of pressure, and so yeah, it was nice. But yeah, got to eat a lot of great food. Apparently we were chatting out with our point in contact here, and he had mentioned that Italy of course is known for their food, but specifically Bologna, I don't know if this is just his personal opinion or just kind of the consensus among people here, but he said Bologna specifically, this region, is probably the best in Italy. And so that was cool to know, and it definitely proved itself. We ate at various restaurants. There was even like a pizza stop right next to the hotel, like 500 feet, not even. And got a couple slices from there, like twice, and it was like the best thing. It was delicious. It was better than any pizza I had in America. And so, yeah, food-wise, it was awesome. And then we had some time to kind of like walk around and sightsee the city a little bit. Just looking at the architecture and the churches and cathedrals and towers they have. Like in America, I mean, our buildings are nowhere near as old. And so seeing these like archaic structures and just knowing how long they've been standing and the history and what kind of technology and design they had back then versus and like what they made of it, it's pretty remarkable. I always get that feeling whenever I'm in Europe and just like looking around, and not even like going to like the touristy sightseeing stuff, but just walking down the street and just like looking up, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome. So I love coming to Europe. I haven't traveled a ton, but every time I have, it always just kind of impresses me. And so hopefully I'll be able to make a trip out here with the family. I'd love to have them with me on some of these trips. Occasionally I do bring them out, but if I know the trip is going to be quite busy, I will just tell them that they probably just need to stay home and we can try to figure something out the next time. But yeah, I guess other than that, everything went well. I feel like I was just saying stuff and I kind of went off tangent. So what happened? I was here for a shoot with Visa Cash App Racing Bull Formula One team. We just recently became a sponsor of that team, so we're here at their facility, and we did some interviews of the team, and yeah. What else? Yeah, so I think that's about it. And then headed back home today. It's Friday, so I'm just gonna be able to squeeze in some time with the family for the weekend, and then I'm back on a plane out to Melbourne, Australia next week. I'll be there shooting for an event. That one should be a lot more looser, relaxed, more fun, not as formal and structured. We're not going there for any kind of like corporate interview shoot type thing. I'm just filming an event and getting to potentially do some fun little interview thing with Liam Lawson, the F1 driver for V-Carb. And so should be pretty fun, pretty optimistic. And yeah, after learning what I learned from this Italy trip, I feel like I can go right into Melbourne with that same kind of feeling of like, hey, let's just lean in, hope for the best, think positive, feel positive, and you may be pleasantly surprised by the end of it, of how well it turned out. And so, yeah, I guess that was just like a really long roundabout way of saying, just try to have a more positive mindset going into it, and just, yeah, hope for the best. Anyways, headed back home. See you guys.